No, the Buffalo Bills are not moving to Austin, Texas. All coming up on today's edition of the Bills Mafia Report. Yo ho ho, Bills Mafia. Now, really looking back on my channel, if you were to tell me that I would ever title a video like this and put it out on the internet, I would call you crazy. I thought that we were past the whole Bills potentially moving right before the Pegulas ended up buying the team, but then again, the conversation has just started reigniting. Now, like many Bills fans for the past couple of years, we have been desperately in need of either a new stadium or some significant renovations to Highmark Stadium currently. And we finally got the news that we wanted, or at least that we thought so. So, starting off, we ended up getting news that the Pegulas were asking Erie County and the city of Orchard Park to make this new stadium completely funded by the taxpayers of Western New York. Now, if that didn't make Twitter go absolutely crazy, it was just a couple of hours later when it was announced that the Pegulas threatened to move the Buffalo Bills to Austin, Texas, if they did not get what they want. Now, Bills Mafia, I'm gonna go on ahead and I'm just gonna put this out here. There is no way in hell that the Buffalo Bills are moving outside of Buffalo. Don't worry about Austin, Texas. It's not going to happen. I'm legitimately willing to put my mortgage and my life savings on the line at this point. This is when I look at it from the Pegulas standpoint. They are legitimately using this as a negotiating tactic. Now, as I'm sure you know, when it comes to dealing with government, and that's federal, state, local, they're stingy bastards. Let's be completely honest with ourselves at this point. What they're gonna do is they're gonna make sure that they are fighting for a deal that makes the most sense for them. And then the other side, which is the Pegulas in this instance, is going to fight for the biggest deal that they can potentially bring in. Now, the problem when it comes to negotiating with governments is the fact, if you don't have any leverage whatsoever, then you're not gonna get what you want. And in my opinion, I think the Pegulas are simply using this as a negotiation mark to leverage their way into getting a deal that makes the most sense at the end of the day. Now, we all know that Mrs. Pegula, she is from Buffalo. It is known that she absolutely loves her city and she wants to keep the Buffalo Bills in here. I mean, let's be completely honest with you. If the Pegulas were going to move any team out of this city, it would be the Buffalo Sabres. The Bills just have such a loyal fan base. It is such a huge staple to our local economy that moving the Buffalo Bills outside of Buffalo simply wouldn't make sense. Not only from the Pegula standpoint, but also from the city, from the county of Erie. They're gonna do whatever they can to make sure that this stadium stays in here for the economic benefits that it provides to Western New York by itself. Now, as far as moving is concerned, like I said, the Buffalo Bills are going to be here. I guarantee you 20, 25 years from now, when we have 3 Lombardis sitting in our welcome center, it's still going to be in Buffalo. I'm going to be 65 years old smashing tables in the Hammerlot at that point. It's going to happen. Now, the second part of this is that I did kind of want to address a lot of people were getting very upset about the fact that Western New York taxpayers would have to fund the entire stadium. Now, let me be entirely honest with you. I think once a deal does end up going through, I think that it will at least be partially funded by taxpayers of the area. Unfortunately, that's just really how it works for small market teams, right? Like, they need some additional financial help when it comes to building out a stadium. For example, look at Green Bay. Green Bay is entirely funded by local taxpayers. Hence why they're able to keep a team in that suburb. I wouldn't even call it a city at this point. I would call it a suburb due to that fact. Now, the one thing is, if we want to keep the Buffalo Bills in the city, realistically, financially, taxpayers are going to have to at least fund a little bit of it. But at the end of the day, with how much the Buffalo Bills absolutely love Bills Mafia and vice versa, in my opinion, I would be completely fine with it at the end of the day. Really, all we know is that this is the very early stages of the negotiation. Like I said, I think the Pegulas are just putting as much leverage as they possibly can on the table where they can see the Buffalo Bills stay in there. And just to make everybody feel better, I just came across an article saying that Austin City Council did not hear a single word about the Buffalo Bills potentially moving to their city. So that just tells me that the Pegulas just ended up pulling a random city out of their ass and saying, hey, yeah, we're going to move the Bills to Austin, Texas. Now, say that the Bills do go to Austin, Texas, I really don't know what would happen with that. I mean, maybe it would be like a 5 to 10 year span, and I would be able to, hopefully see the Bills raise a Lombardi within Western New York at this point. But you know what? I'm not going to live in a fantasy world because that's simply not going to happen. Down Mafia, do me a favor, leave a comment. What do you think about the potential relocation, which I frankly think is bull? And then number 2, how would you feel about potentially having it partially funded by taxpayers of Western New York, considering the fact that we have such a small market team? Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Down Mafia Report. I'm gonna see if I can put out a training camp update video today. As many of you know, I just ended up moving into my new house. I'm waiting for internet to be set up. I'm waiting for a bunch of other things to be set up at this point. Hence why you haven't heard from me for the past couple of days. But yeah, so definitely be on the lookout for that. I might be able to put out one. And thank you so much for tuning in. And before I let you go, always remember, let's go Buffalo.